My parents secretly took out a $523,000 loan in my name without my consent. Reddit story. Have you ever gotten a call so bizarre, so utterly unexpected, that you wonder if it's a prank? That was me on a Tuesday at 11:43 a.m. sitting in my cramped apartment kitchen slurping instant noodles when my phone buzzed. The number was unfamiliar from out of state. "Hello, is this Ethan Carter?" a professional voice asked. "Speaking," I replied. "This is Lisa from Golden Crest Mortgage Services. We're contacting you regarding the overdue balance on your loan. We've sent multiple notices." "Hold up, what loan?" I asked, confused. Lisa didn't flinch. "The one tied to the property at 412 Willow Lane. You're listed as the primary borrower. The current balance is $523,117.83. Ma'am, I live in a 600-square-foot rental with a mattress on the floor. I don't even own a dining table, let alone a $500,000 property." There was a brief pause. Then she asked for my birth date and social security number. She verified them. Everything matched. The loan was in my name. My stomach dropped, hands turning icy. You know that sinking feeling when something massive is about to hit, and your brain just chants, "No, no, no." Yeah, that. Apparently, 18 months earlier, someone had used my identity to secure a mortgage, bought a house in another state, and defaulted on it within 10 months. The co-signer? My father. That's when it clicked. I hung up and dialed him immediately. He answered in his usual gruff, retired guy tone like I'd interrupted his crossword puzzle. "Ethan, what's this about? Did you put my name on a mortgage?" Silence. The kind you'd get if you asked him if he'd hidden a body in my yard. "Why would you think that?" he said too fast. "Because the bank just called about a house I supposedly own, and your name's on it too." Nothing. Then, finally, "Look, relax. It's not a big deal." "Not a big deal?" My voice hit a new pitch. "You use my identity to buy a house. That's a huge deal. That's fraud." That's when I heard her in the background. My sister, Mia. Of course it was Mia. 5 years younger, perpetually in leggings and drowning in brunch bills, always whining about how the world sabotaged her influencer aspirations. My parents had bailed her out countless times while I worked double shifts since college to stay afloat. "She needed help," my dad said. "Help? You signed me onto a $523,000 loan without asking." Then my mom chimed in. "Well, you weren't doing anything important with your credit." I had to sit down, speechless. Later, I learned they'd used an old power of attorney I'd signed at 18 for a student loan issue, exploiting it to push through the paperwork. The mortgage company somehow overlooked the glaring issues. My credit, destroyed. My report was a nightmare. Late payments, collections, a foreclosure looming. And me? I was facing a lawsuit for a house I'd never seen. I sent a cease and desist to the lender, froze my credit, and filed an identity theft report with the FTC. But it wasn't enough. The bank still had my name on the loan, forged by my own parents. The worst part? Mia was living in that house, hosting wine parties and posting debt-free energy selfies in a home I was legally tied to. Something in me broke. I'd always been the good kid, quiet, responsible, never asking for handouts. They'd taken everything from me, and I was done being their doormat. So I made a plan, and when I was through, they'd regret ever touching that loan. 3 days later, I stood outside 412 Willow Lane. I'd flown in quietly, no calls, no texts, just me, a rented sedan, and a folder packed with documents that would make any lawyer drool. The house was sleek, modern, with oversized windows and pretentious garden statues. It screamed, "I've never heard of a budget." Mia's white SUV sat in the driveway, naturally. I knocked once, firmly. Mia answered, her surprise fading into a fake smile that could sour milk. "Ethan, wow, what a surprise!" she chirped, as if she hadn't obliterated my financial life. "Is it?" I said, deadpan. "Oh, come on, you're overreacting," she said, stepping aside like I was there for coffee. "Want a juice? I'm on this new kale detox. I'm here about the mortgage you stuck me with." Her face twitched, just for a second, like a glitchy app. "It was a family decision," she laughed. "You weren't using your credit, so what's the issue?" I stepped inside. The place was a decor disaster. Fake ferns, cheesy wall art, a sign above the sink reading "Live, Laugh, Love." I wanted to torch it. I pulled out my folder, thick with evidence. Mia's eyes flicked to it, then back to me. "What's that?" "Everything," I said. Inside were copies of the forged documents, my affidavit denying the loan, proof of the misused power of attorney, credit reports, identity theft filings, and a letter from my attorney Sarah, a college friend who specialized in identity theft cases. She owed me a favor from a rainy moving day years ago, and she was a legal shark. "I've talked to a lawyer," I said, voice steady. "She says I have a strong case. Forgery, fraud, identity theft, civil damages. Mia paled. I kept going, cold and calm. Here's the deal. You're refinancing this loan in your name fully. I'm out, and you're covering all legal fees. I can't do that, she snapped. My credit's too bad for a car loan, let alone this. I cut her off. You didn't ask, Mia. You stole from your own brother. And Mom and Dad helped. Right then, my parents walked in from the hallway, clearly having overheard. My mom's face was red from crying. My dad just looked exhausted, not remorseful. Ethan, can we talk like a family? My mom pleaded. You had your chance, I said. Now you can talk to my attorney. My dad bristled. You don't need to be so hostile. This was a mix-up. A mix-up? I said. You used a power of attorney from when I was 18 to forge my signature on a $523,000 loan. That's not a mix-up. That's a crime. I raised you, my dad shouted. Put a roof over your head. Great, I shot back. And now you're trying to bankrupt me so Mia can play socialite. Thanks for the roof. Mia looked like she might cry. You'd let your sister go down for this? She whispered. I stared her down. You let me get a foreclosure notice. You ruined my credit. You never told me. You lived here like it was a resort and I was the one paying. And now you want pity? Then I pulled out my trump card. A letter I'd sent to the bank requesting a full investigation into the loan's origins, complete with evidence of forgery and a fraud complaint. The bank had 30 days to respond or we'd go to court. Their faces fell. My dad's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Silence. That was it. The moment they realized I wasn't bluffing, wasn't their pushover anymore. I turned to leave. No juice, then? Mia called weakly. I paused at the door. Nope, but I'll take the house. You know, since it's legally mine. Then I walked out. 3 days later, Mia called twice. I ignored her. Then came a text. Can we talk? The bank's auditing something. I don't know what you said, but stop. I grinned. That audit was just the start. Sarah had a contact, Emily, in Golden Crest's compliance department. Emily reviewed the loan file and found the notary stamp was from a woman who'd left real estate 6 years ago to run a pet sanctuary in Nevada. She sent Sarah a statement confirming she hadn't notarized anything in years. Strike one, strike two. The income verification claimed I was a lead developer earning $147,000 annually. I've never made over $63,000 and I work in supply chain, not tech. The document was on fake letterhead from a non-existent company. Strike three. Mia's bank statements, subpoenaed by Sarah, showed she was blowing cash on personal coaches, energy alignment sessions, and a $7,000 Manifest Your Destiny retreat. She hadn't paid a dime toward the mortgage. My parents had until they couldn't, and then they let it default, leaving me to drown. I was furious all over again. Sarah filed for an injunction to halt the foreclosure while the fraud case unfolded. When the bank realized they'd approved a loan with forged documents and a defunct notary, they cooperated quickly. They sent Mia and my parents a letter demanding resolution, offering Mia a chance to refinance in her name. Spoiler, her 531 credit score didn't qualify. They suggested a short sale. Sell the house, take the loss. Mia refused, saying, "This house is my sanctuary. I manifested it." She told the bank she wasn't vibing with financial stress. So the bank started foreclosure, listing Mia and my dad as defendants, not me, thanks to the fraud claim's strength. But I wasn't done. I asked Sarah to let me attend the foreclosure hearing in person. I didn't just want justice, I wanted them to see me win. The hearing was on a rainy Thursday, perfect for poetic justice. I wore a simple blazer and jeans, face neutral. Sarah, armed with documents, was a legal machine. Mia arrived late in a white blazer and loud heels, clutching a Starbucks like she was at a photo shoot. She saw me in the front row and froze. No fake smile this time. My parents trailed her, Mom gripping her purse, Dad giving me a curt nod. No remorse, just cornered. The bank's lawyer, Claire, laid out the case. Missed payments, default, refusal to refinance, Mia's abysmal credit. Sarah followed, slamming our evidence folder on the table. Forged documents, credit reports, fake income, notary fraud, a timeline exposing the scam. She didn't dramatize. The facts were damning enough. Mia looked like the fraudster she was. Then Mia spoke, in a reality TV-worthy performance. Your Honor, this house is my home. I made memories here. I decorated it. I thought my brother agreed to help. It was a family plan. The judge cut her off. Miss Carter, is your name on the income documents? A pause. No, but did you make any payments on the loan? Another pause. No, but my parents, have you made any payments since the loan began? Silence. Miss Carter? She swallowed. Yes. The judge looked at her like she was a minor annoyance. Foreclosure will proceed, he said. Mr. Ethan Carter is released from liability, pending the fraud case's resolution. Golden Crest may pursue damages against the cosigner and any party who benefited from the fraudulent loan. No gavel, but it felt like one dropped. I stood with Sarah. Mia sat, stunned, eyes darting like she expected a prank reveal. Outside, my dad cornered me. "You didn't have to do this," he growled. "You're right," I said. "I didn't. But I wanted to." My mom added, "You've humiliated your sister." I replied, "She humiliated herself. You just handed her the rope." Mia said nothing, just walked past me down the courthouse steps, silent for once. I felt like I'd finally shed the role of the invisible sibling, the one who took the hits and stayed quiet. But I wasn't finished. Sarah and I filed a civil suit for damages, emotional distress, ruined credit, lost opportunities, and identity theft. We asked for $215,000, including legal fees and interest. Sarah called it conservative. The fallout was instant. Mia left a 6-paragraph voicemail, half crying, half ranting. "I'm your sister, Ethan. You're suing your family? Over paperwork? You're so selfish. Think about Mom." I saved it for Sarah. Evidence of manipulation. My dad emailed one line, "We gave you life. This is how you repay us?" I forwarded it to Sarah, subject, classic parent guilt trip. Then came a surprise. My Uncle James, Mom's quieter brother, texted me. "Heard what happened? Coffee this weekend? We met at a diner." He slid a folder across the table and said, "I knew they'd pull something like this. You're not the first." Inside were records of Mia's loans from a family trust meant for all grandkids. She'd drained $118,000 by 25. I'd gotten nothing. James had distanced himself from them years ago and offered to testify. Sarah was ecstatic. Character witness and financial proof? Jackpot. Then their lawyer sent a settlement offer. $20,000 and a mutual NDA, no admission of guilt. I laughed and replied through Sarah, "Add a zero, then we'll talk." They countered quickly. $60,000, no NDA. Progress, but not enough. Sarah pushed for depositions of Mia and my dad, recorded and on file. The deposition was in a sterile conference room, reeking of toner and old coffee. Mia, twitchy, sat with a nervous junior lawyer. My dad, arms crossed, glared like he could scare the truth away. Sarah hit record, introduced the case, and asked Mia, "Can you explain how your brother's signature appeared on the mortgage?" Mia stammered, "I thought it was okay." Sarah pressed, "Okay by whom?" "My parents said it was handled." "Did you review the paperwork?" "Not closely." "Did you know Ethan didn't consent?" A long pause. "I didn't know he didn't agree." "Did he ever say he'd co-sign a $523,000 loan?" Silence. "No." Sarah turned to my dad. "You co-signed the loan, correct?" "Yes." "You used a power of attorney for Ethan's signature?" "Yes." "Was it specific to this loan?" No answer. "Mr. Carter, was it a general document from when he was 18? Silence. "Did you notify Ethan in writing?" "No." "Did he ever agree to this?" "No." "Did you know using that document could be fraud?" My dad muttered, "I did what I had to." Sarah smiled like a predator. "Thank you." They called a break. Mia left, shaken. My dad lingered, glaring. "You think this makes you better than us?" he asked. I met his gaze. "Number." "It proves I'm not you." Outside, Sarah whispered, "We're not just winning. We're setting a precedent. They'll need a magnifying glass to get a library card after this." The next day, their lawyer offered $150,000 and a signed apology letter. No NDA, no dodging guilt. It wasn't full justice, but it was accountability. I accepted. The $150,000 hit my account within 48 hours. The apology letter, co-signed by my parents, was a lawyered-up 2 paragraphs of regret and missteps, but admitted fault. I photographed the signatures, saved it in a secure folder labeled insurance, and blocked their numbers. I told Sarah I was done. I had my money, my distance, and for the first time, control of my life.